Why is it that we can sometimes have these amazing experiences of doing healing work and therapy and coaching and having these amazing breakthroughs, but then we kind of just go back to our normal lives and we get stuck in the same problems? It seems like nothing happened. This is unfortunately a very common problem in the self-development world. Maybe you've done all this work, you've bought all the courses, you've read all the books that are supposed to help you solve all of your problems. And maybe you even have these experiences of intense breakthroughs, and yet nothing changes. You can be doing this for years and years and you're still stuck in the same problems in the same life. What is going on there? Sometimes this is an illusion, and it seems like we're going around the same loop over and over again, but we're actually on a growth spiral. And I've made a separate video explaining this in detail, and I'll link to that in the description right here. But like I said, sometimes all the breakthroughs in the world don't actually lead to anything. And let's examine why that is so we can solve this problem. The first thing is to acknowledge that growth work, healing work, self-development, whatever you want to call it, can be highly engaging and entertaining and fun. Take the example of going to retreats. This is a super exciting thing. I mean, first of all, the whole preparation, or you find some retreat, it's like, oh, here's the embodiment retreat, or here's the shadow work retreat, or the breath work intensive, or the ayahuasca plant medicine journey with a traditional shaman. It's like, this is exciting stuff. And then often it's also in exciting and interesting locations. So you find the thing, you get into it, you get all excited about it, you prepare for it. There's also a bit of a drama about, often it's expensive. You have to buy the tickets and buy the flights and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of a big deal. You have to make a decision about it. This is emotionally activating. It's engaging stuff to do, even this part. And okay, you sign up, you get the tickets, you get all excited about going on this adventure, right? You go there, it's a great location, hopefully. You meet all these like-minded people who are also on a growth journey. You start bonding with them, and you're doing this intense stuff. I mean, whatever the retreat is, you're probably going to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, might be very high intensity, both in positive and difficult ways, right? So it might be, oh my God, look at how beautiful this location is, and I love these people so much, and I feel so connected, but also, wow, this is so intense. I'm really being much more vulnerable here than I'm usually, and I'm struggling with that. These feelings and emotions come up, maybe certain exercises you do make you cry. It's intense, right? You have these intense experiences. It's usually very bonding with the people there. It's this whole amazing adventure. And I'm saying all this to just acknowledge, look, this is great fun, right? This can be very entertaining. And the same is also true for, working with a great coach or a therapist. Maybe you feel so seen and heard by this person. You've got all these intense experiences with them, and it feels great. Now, why is that important to acknowledge? The problem is that right away, if you have a story in your mind that says, well, if I solve my problem, I can't do this anymore, that will create an incentive for you to subconsciously stop yourself from growing. If I'm like, wow, this retreat was the best thing ever, but if I solve my problem, then I can't go to a retreat anymore. I got to fire my coach, stop talking to my therapist, and no longer go to retreats. And I don't want that. So the first thing there is to just ask yourself, how much are you actually enjoying this? How much do you love the drama, the intensity, and everything around this? And to make a pact with yourself and say, hey, even if I solve all of my problems, even if I overcome all of my shadows, even if I become totally enlightened, I'm still going to allow myself to keep working with this therapist, to keep going to the awesome retreats in Bali or whatever, right? I'm going to allow myself to keep doing this. Just make that agreement with yourself to clear that out and remove the incentive that might be in your subconscious keeping you stuck. The next obstacle, and this might be the most common one, is that you actually use the intensity of the experiences to hold on to your old patterns and essentially give yourself plausible deniability. So here's what I mean. Every kind of growth you experience will come with letting go. You have to let go of things that feel familiar and normal to you. And this is difficult to do, or it comes with some kind of a feeling of loss and grief, even if what you're letting go of is something that totally doesn't serve you. For example, if you're doing healing work, if you're growing as a person, you will have to let go of your sense of victimhood. And of course, you could say, well, who wants to walk through the world as a victim? Like, why would it be a problem to let go of this? But the truth is that you get a lot of benefits from feeling like a victim. feeling like a victim and playing out the victim role might be one of the ways in which you get attention and you get comfort from other people and you feel understood and you feel taken care of. If you feel like, I actually don't know how else to get that, other than sympathy, I'm not sure how to get that, then, well, I wouldn't want to let go of the one way to get all this comfort and support from other people, would I? And also, if you let go of your victimhood, does that mean you have like responsibility and you matter and you have power? I was like, that seems like a lot. Let's maybe not go there, right? So this is just an example to show that even patterns that are toxic, even patterns that don't serve us, still serve us. They're still doing something for you. And sometimes we prefer, or by default, we prefer to be in the familiar thing that feels bad over leaving that behind and stepping into something that's unknown. There's always the danger, like, what if this is worse? So in this way, in order to grow, there's always a letting go. There's always something that feels like a loss, and always something that almost feels like a bit of a sacrifice that needs to happen in order to grow. And doing a lot of inner work and investing into it, investing into the therapy, the coaching, the retreats, and so on, and also experiencing all the intensity, can be a way for you to stay in your old patterns. So you can say, look, I've tried everything. I'm trying everything. Because if I'm always stuck in, let's say, toxic relationships, and I complain about it, and then people ask me, well, have you tried therapy? Are you doing something about it? It's like, uh-oh. If I can say, well, look, I went to this retreat, I confronted all my shadows, I cried for 3 days in a row, it was so intense, it was so hard, and yet, here I am with the same problem, poor me. It's actually something you can use to reinforce your victimhood, to reinforce your stuckness in the pattern. I find the most helpful way to think of this is as, this is a strategy that works for me, okay? It's a strategy that works for me. Right now, this is the solution I prefer on some level. I would prefer to have this problem and have the interesting, engaging intensity of doing the inner work and have all the drama around that and use that to stay stuck. I would prefer that over, oh my God, letting all of that go and stepping into something unknown. Way too scary, let's not do that. And finally, one big issue with growth work, with self-development work, especially when it costs money and when it involves other people, therapy, coaching, retreats, and also plant medicine, things like that, is that it can be used as a way to defer responsibility. So if you find yourself having a story in your mind, or maybe kind of a fantasy of, okay, I'm going to hire this expensive coach and they're going to make this problem go away. That's what I'm going to do. Or, okay, I'm going to go to this crazy plant medicine ceremony in the jungle somewhere and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be overwhelming and I'm going to be going through all this stuff and I'm going to be puking my guts out, and I'm willing to do that so that my problems go away. It's a way to say, I don't want to deal with this. The very things that are your obstacles, and I have a separate video about this, how your obstacles are the path to success. Okay, the obstacles themselves. So usually the very things that we're trying to run away from, the very things we're trying to avoid, that is the exact thing that is the next rung on the ladder of growth that you're trying to accomplish. And so everything you do to avoid that, everything you do to avoid taking the next step towards growth, well, it's not making you grow. And you can even go to a retreat or do the plant medicine or talk to a therapist as a way to avoid doing the real thing. The feeling tone of this is always this kind of pushing away, right? It's like, take this away from me. Make it so that I don't have to deal with this. Make it so I don't have to face this. And we like to use money and other people for this. It's like, look, I'm giving you all this money, take this thing away from me. The problem is that the thing is this is the rung on the ladder. I have to grab it and pull myself up by it. That is the only way to grow. Those, based on my observations, are the three most common ways in which people can get addicted to self-help work and do all the stuff without actually making progress. The solution, the meta solution here, is to bring awareness to it. That's always the most important step. If you can simply be aware, like, oh yeah, I really love going to retreats and I don't want to stop going to retreats. And also, I love being a victim and I don't want to let go of that. And also, I love the idea of handing this over to someone else and not having to deal with it. That is totally what's happening in me. If you can just observe that process, that itself is the most important step for you to then start changing that attitude. And you can do the exact same things, right? You can do the same therapy and the same retreats and everything, but with this inner shift in attitude where you go, okay, I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to face the thing that I'm trying to run away from. I'm going to take responsibility for it. I'm going to be willing to let go. I'm going to be willing to let go of the things that are really scary to let go of. And I'm going to allow myself to just enjoy this process and keep doing it even if I heal. That makes all the difference. For more on this, I will link to an article that I wrote about how to get more growth out of your growth experiences. And I would love to hear from you. Have you had this experience of this kind of fake breakthrough, feeling like you're doing all the things but staying stuck? And how did these ideas land on you? So go ahead and leave a comment. That's all for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.